Welcome back to the deep dive. I want to start today with a little thought experiment. Imagine, just for a second, the power goes out in your house. It's annoying, right? You fumble for a flashlight, maybe you worry about the ice cream melting. But now, imagine the signal goes out. No Wi-Fi, no data, nothing. Just total digital silence.
That is a much, much more terrifying kind of quiet.
It really is. We treat connectivity like, the air we breathe. It's just sort of there.
Mm-hmm.
But if it vanished for 5 minutes, the panic, it wouldn't just be about missing a text. We're talking global finance, logistics, healthcare.
It all just stops. It really is the central nervous system of modern civilization. And you're right, we have this massive blind spot. We stare at the screen in our hand, but we rarely think about the massive physical machine that makes it all work.
And that is exactly what we're tackling today. We're doing a deep dive into the text, the global network, evolution, impact, and future of the internet.
I love this source because it's not just a dry technical manual. It's not, here's a router. It gives us the history, the sociology, and honestly, the slightly terrifying risks of it all.
It does. And our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We want to peel back the layers of the cloud because, spoiler alert, the cloud isn't a cloud at all. It's physical. It's heavily armored cables under the ocean. It's inside your walls.
So our goal is to move you, the listener, from being just a passive user, someone who clicks links and hopes for the best, to an informed participant, to really understand the structure holding our world up.
Exactly. We want to look under the hood of the engine that drives modern life.
So let's get into the nuts and bolts. We have to start with the question that sounds simple until you actually try to answer it. What is the internet?
It's a million-dollar question.
Yeah.
If you strip away all the TikToks and the Amazon storefronts, at its core, the internet is just a global network of computers. Just computers talking to other computers.
Essentially, yes. It's a huge system that lets machines share resources. But the key word there isn't computers, it's standardized. They're all speaking the same language.
That's the TCP/IP protocols the source mentions, right?
Spot on. Think of it as the grammar for digital communication. Without that, a Mac in San Francisco couldn't say hello to a server in London. They'd just be shouting gibberish at each other. The protocols are what allow the conversation to happen.
Okay, so a common language.
Yeah.
But here's the part that always gets me. If I want to send a message to a friend in Tokyo, how does my computer find their specific computer? It feels like finding one grain of sand on a beach.
That's where the engineering gets brilliant. The source uses a great analogy here. The digital home address.
This is the IP address.
Right. Every single device connected to the internet has a unique one, an IP address. Just like the post office needs your street address and zip code to deliver a letter, the internet needs an IP address to route data packets to your specific phone.
So when I click a link, I'm not just going online, I'm sending a specific request to a specific digital coordinate.
And the server at that coordinate sees your return address and sends the data right back. And what's fascinating is the physicality of it. We get annoyed if a page takes 3 seconds to load, but in those 3 seconds, your request might have, traveled through fiber optic cables under the Atlantic.
It just blows my mind that we call it the cloud when it's mostly underwater cables and huge air-conditioned warehouses full of servers.
The cloud is great marketing. The underwater cables and hot warehouses is less sexy, but way more accurate.
Okay, now, before we move on, we have to make a distinction to source highlights. And I'll admit, I used to get this wrong all the time. The difference between the internet and the World Wide Web.
You're definitely not alone there. People use them interchangeably, but they're totally different things.
So how do we separate them?
The text has a great way of putting it. Think of the internet as the highway system. It's the asphalt, the bridges, the off-ramp.
The infrastructure.
The infrastructure, exactly. It connects point A to point B.
Okay, so the internet is the plumbing.
Correct. Now, the World Wide Web, that's the traffic, the cars, the trucks, the cargo that's traveling on that highway. The web is the pages, the videos, the information that moves over the infrastructure.
That is so helpful. So you can have the internet without the web.
You can't have the web without the internet. In fact, in the early days, before the web, the internet existed. It was just a highway with very few cars on it.
Which is a perfect segue into the history. Because this highway didn't just appear overnight. And surprisingly, it wasn't a tech billionaire in a garage.
No, not at all. We have to go back way further to the height of the Cold War, the 1960s.
It feels so counterintuitive that something so open started with the military.
It's a paradox, isn't it? But the motivation was survival. The U.S. Department of Defense needed a communication system that was, well, resilient. They were worried about a nuclear strike. If a missile took out a central hub, they needed the other command centers to still be able to talk to each other.
Right, so the decentralized nature of it wasn't about freedom. It was a strategic choice about not getting wiped out.
Precisely. So in 1969, they launched ARPANET. This is basically the grandfather of the internet. It connected 4 computers.
4.
Just 4. And it was crude, it was hard to use, but it proved that packet switching worked. That you could break a message into little pieces, send them on different routes, and put them back together at the end.
So we go from ARPANET, military, and academic. Let's jump to the 90s. This is when the highway finally got some civilian cars.
The 1990s changed everything. And that's because of Tim Berners-Lee.
The man who invented the World Wide Web.
He did something revolutionary. Before him, using the internet required knowing complex command lines. It was for coders. Berners-Lee created a way to link documents together, hyperlinks, and display them graphically.
He built the interface. He made it clickable.
He made it human-readable. And, importantly, he gave it away for free. He didn't patent it. That decision is probably the main reason the internet exploded. If he'd put it behind a paywall, it might have stayed a niche tool for universities.
And that openness caused the explosion. The source says we've gone from those 4 computers to over 5 billion regular users today. That scale is just.
It's hard to even comprehend. It effectively means the majority of the human species is part of a single electronic organism.
Which is both beautiful and terrifying. And that connectivity has changed every part of our daily lives. I mean, communication is the most obvious one.
Yeah, but it's not just about speed. Sure, email is faster than a letter, but the internet changed the nature of how we communicate.
How do you mean?
It collapsed distance and context. We used to write letters that took weeks. Then we used landlines, but you had to be physically tethered to a wall. Nowadays, we have WhatsApp, Zoom, Instagram. We're in a state of constant ambient connection.
Ambient connection.
Yeah.
I like that. It's like we're never truly away from anyone.
Exactly. And the source lists the big ones. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. These aren't just tools, they're broadcasting platforms. Everyone is now a media company.
Which brings us to business. The text talks about the global marketplace, which sounds like a buzzword, but the reality is just wild.
It really is. Before the internet, if you made, say, hand-painted birdhouses, you could only sell them to people in your town. Now, you can sell them to someone in New Zealand through Etsy or Amazon. The internet totally flattened the geography of commerce.
It turned hobbies into global businesses,
Yeah.
but it also changed how we work, and I think the source makes a really good point about the pandemic here.
That was the ultimate stress test. COVID-19 proved this network is no longer a luxury. It is critical infrastructure.
It was the only thing keeping the lights on for education and a lot of businesses.
Absolutely. Without the internet, the global economy would have ground to a halt. It let students go to class from their bedroom and workers log in from their kitchen table. It proved the office is a concept, not just a place.
And then, of course, entertainment. We've moved from owning things to accessing them.
That shift is huge. We don't buy DVDs, we subscribe to Netflix.
Yeah.
We don't buy CDs, we stream Spotify. And gaming. The text points out that online gaming is a major social space now. It's not just playing a game, it's a third place where people hang out.
Okay, so we've got this miracle invention. It connects us, it teaches us, it keeps the economy running. It sounds like a utopia. But
There's always a but.
the source material takes a sharp pivot here. We have to talk about the double-edged sword. Connectivity brings vulnerability. And I want to start with privacy, because I feel like this is the one we've all just kind of accepted.
Or resigned ourselves to. The reality is, on the modern web, if the service is free, you are not the customer. You're the product.
Data is a commodity.
Every click, every search, every pause on a video, it's all tracked. Companies build a digital twin of you to predict what you'll buy or how you'll vote.
And that data isn't always secure. We see the headlines about data breaches all the time.
Right. And that leads to security threats. The internet was built on trust. Those early researchers, they all knew each other. They didn't build in high-level security because they didn't think they needed it. Now, cybercriminals exploit that openness. Phishing, malware, identity theft.
And it's not just technical attacks. It's psychological. The source brings up addiction.
And this is a genuine health crisis. The algorithms are designed to keep you engaged. They are engineered to be addictive. We're seeing a generation that is incredibly connected digitally, but maybe more isolated physically.
The doom scrolling phenomenon. You look up and realize 2 hours are just gone.
That's the dopamine loop at work.
Yeah.
But there's another risk that feels very, very current: information integrity.
With the fake news problem.
It's the lack of gatekeepers. In the old days, to publish a story to millions, you needed a printing press or a TV station. Now, anyone with a phone can publish. There's no editor-in-chief of the internet.
So false information spreads faster than the truth because it's usually more sensational.
It travels at the speed of light. The source really emphasizes that verification is now a critical life skill. You have to be your own fact-checker.
There's one more challenge the text mentions that I think is really important. The fact that not everyone is invited to this party.
The digital divide. It's a massive issue. We talk about 5 billion users, but that leaves billions unconnected. And even in connected countries, there's a huge gap between high-speed fiber and, spotty mobile data.
And in a world where homework and job applications are all online, not having access isn't an inconvenience, it's exclusion.
It's an inequality engine. If you can't get online reliably, you are effectively locked out of a modern economy.
So it's a powerful tool with some very sharp edges. But the story isn't over. The source material looks at what's next, what's on the horizon.
Well, the immediate shift is speed and stability driven by 5G.
Is that just about downloading movies faster?
That's the consumer perk, sure. But the real impact is latency, the delay. With 5G, that delay almost disappears. That unlocks things like remote surgery. If there's a lag there, it's catastrophic. Low latency makes it possible.
That leads into the Internet of Things, the IoT.
This is where the internet disappears from the screen and just moves into the walls. Your fridge, your car, your thermostat, they all become nodes on the network.
So the physical world becomes clickable.
Basically. And this ties into AI. The source discusses how artificial intelligence will make the web semantic. Instead of you searching for keywords, the web will start to understand your intent. It will anticipate what you need.
That sounds both helpful and a little dystopic.
It's a fine line, but imagine an internet that acts less like a library and more like a personal assistant.
And finally, the text mentions immersion, getting away from 2D screens.
Virtual and augmented reality. We're moving toward what people call the spatial web. Instead of looking at the internet, you'll be inside it. You might have a virtual meeting where you feel like you're in the same room, or walk through a digital store.
It's such a wild trajectory. From 4 computers sending the letters LO before crashing to immersive virtual worlds.
It's the most rapid technological acceleration in human history, period.
So, as we wrap this up, how do we synthesize all this? We have the wires, the history, the benefits, the scary risks. What's the final verdict?
I think the best way to sum it up is how the source describes it. The internet is a bridge. It connects people, ideas, and knowledge. It's the defining infrastructure of our time.
But bridges can be dangerous if you run across them with your eyes closed.
And that's the takeaway. We aren't going back. The advantages are too massive. But the responsibility has shifted. It's no longer just on the engineers to make it work. Now the responsibility lies with the user. It lies with you.
It's about agency.
Exactly. You have to navigate the privacy settings, you have to verify the news, you have to manage your screen time. The internet is a tool, and a tool is only as good or as safe as the person using it.
I love that thought from the conclusion of the source. In the 21st century, digital literacy is just as important as reading and writing.
It's the prerequisite for modern citizenship.
That is a powerful place to end. It's not about the tech, it's about the human holding the device.
Well, on that note, we're going to sign off. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us.
Stay curious, and don't forget to unplug every once in a while.
See you next time.